Hello everybody! Thanks a lot for the 1,000 subscribers. Thank you. And thanks for all of you for watching my FlightSim shorts video. So I promised all of you guys to make a video of my setup, of my FlightSim setup when I reach 1,000 subs. So here we go, starting with my computer. This PC, I've got it at the end of 2018, so it is 7 years old now, roughly. So the CPU is a i7 8700 non-K, so it's not overclockable, so I'm just running it at the stock speed. I'm not really an overclock person, I don't like overclocking stuff, I'm not very comfortable with it. So this PC is very old, it's 7 years old, but I don't have a lot of blue screens, I don't have crashes that often with this PC, so that's why I'm keeping it for this long. So it's definitely showing its age, like it's not performing well with FlightSim or modern games like modern AAA titles, but I do have my upgraded 4070 Super. It is upgraded from the previous 1070 Ti, so roughly a doubling of the FPS when I've got it, but still a lot of modern games are very CPU limited anyway. And I also have 48 gigs of RAM. Initially I only have 16 gigs of RAM, but maybe you can tell from the intro, I'm actually a musician. I do music arrangement and music production for a living, so my PC mainly is for work. When I'm doing my work, I find that 16 gigs is not really enough for me, so naturally I just upgraded with a pair of 16 gig sticks. So I have a kind of weird RAM capacity, 48 gigs right now with 4 sticks running at 3000 megahertz. So it's quite a stable machine for me, so that's why I've kept it for so long. But we may see some upgrades in the future, who knows, maybe if I have the money for it, I'll upgrade it. And you know, upgrading CPU is not great. If you're just upgrading the old CPU, it's older platform, you don't have a lot of upgrade path. So I may switch to AMD or maybe switch to a newer Intel platform, but that is gonna be next year or another year down the line. I'm gonna be sticking with this PC for a while. So yeah. So moving on with my flight sticks. So these two, obviously they're from Thrustmasters. They're the Airbus First Officer Pack from the TCA lineup. And they have been with me ever since a very long time ago, like 2 or 3 years. So basically, when I started with FlightSim 2020, I have a X3D, the very simple joystick, kind of look like this, the black and gray one. Maybe you're seeing the photos of it right now. So I've upgraded to this TCA First Officer Pack, so I don't have the spoilers and the flaps, I only have the throttles and my sticks. I control my flaps with keybinds on the stick itself here, right here. You can see like on the flap settings. So this flap 2 and going back to flap 1. So, and I have assigned it my brakes pedals to this axis. I see many people use this for spoilers, but I found myself having a more precise control over my brakes is better than spoilers, because I don't really use spoilers very incrementally. I either use full spoilers or half spoilers, or I don't use it at all. So that's why I am using this axis on the joysticks for my brake pedals, because I actually don't have a rudder. Yes, my setup doesn't include a rudder because I am broke. I don't have a lot of money, so I'm just using the Z-axis of the stick for my rudder inputs. Enough about the sticks, let's talk about my quadrant. This quadrant is a little bit special because I've modded it, and maybe some of you can see from the video that I've modded it so that the detents are at a different point on axis. For example, my idles are still the same, but I've introduced a idle reverse detent. So maybe you can hear it now. I pull this thrust reverse levers down. There is a detent right here, and this is full reverse obviously. And then if I go back here, I can feel there's a detent right here. And if I let go, it's not going anywhere. There's a detent right here. If I push it a little bit further, it'll go back to the idle obviously. But what's special about this is actually I've moved the climb detent from here, from the middle, all the way up here to roughly about like 70-80%. So if I move here, there is no detent at this point. So this is where the climb detent used to be. and this is where my new climb detent is. And obviously this flex detent and then toga. So this is climb and then this is flex. The way I do this is I pull this to detent tab out and then manually file in new detent points to where I want it to be. In the future, I may actually make another video about how to mod this to have a different detent, because I feel like this actually make me enjoy this throttle a lot more, because having this full range of kind of manual thrust in the Airbus is actually pretty fun. So let's talk about this whole screen situation. As you can see, I have my main screen up there. It is a LG Ultrawide 34-inch 21:9 display, IPS display. It's not curved, it's straight, as you can see down there. And I have two 1920 by 1200 portable displays. They're like 16-inch. They're very portable, and they're powered with USB-C, as you can see here. And they are connected to my computer via HDMI, so I just plug straight into my computer. If you have a setup like this where you have a upper screen for your window out of the window view and two screens, or maybe just one screen, you can have your instruments down here, and where you can see your instruments regardless of what view you have on the main screen. Like for example, maybe I can show you if I want to fly around in external view like this, and I can still have my instruments down here, so I can still follow my ILS signals like localizer, or I can still monitor my engine parameters over here. I used to only have one screen, so just like right down the middle, and I'll only have my PFD and my ND right down the middle with one screens, and I've since then upgraded to two screen, mainly because I can see more, like with my engine gauges over here and my eCam, and also I can have my OBS on the side. But when I'm not flight simming, I'm actually a musician, so having more screen down here actually help me have more real estate for other stuff. Like I can have my DAW up here where I'm recording audio and stuff, or maybe arranging, or maybe have my score up here, and I have my mixer down there, and maybe a video where I'm transcribing music. So having three screens like this are very useful and have a lot of utility functions. So I highly recommend it if you want to have like two screen setup. So just a one big screen up here and then a one small screen down here is very good. Or like me, you can have one big screen up here and then two small screen down here. And maybe you can see that this is actually a tablet. This is an iPad Air, and I have it running Navigraph over here. And then this thing, what is this? This is actually just a Google Chrome browser. Yeah, this is the FlyByWire MCDU server. The way you set it up is in the FlyByWire installer. Here you have A32nx and the A380nx, where you can update it and choose which version you want. And down here at the FlyByWire simulation tab, you can see the FlyByWire Simbridge. And you have to install it and then run it when you start up your simulator. And then you can go to settings here, and you can see the Simbridge settings and the port. You have to remember this number, 8380 for my case. And then you can use your phone or your tablet or whatever, and you have to be connected to the same network as your computer. So in my case, my computer is connected via Ethernet to my router, and my router is connected to my Wi-Fi, so I'm using Wi-Fi here. So you have to have your phone or your tablet connected to the same network as your computer in order for this to show up. When you go to your tablet, you have to enter this link, simbridge.local, and then colon your port number, in this case 8380, and the interfaces slash and then MCDU. I will have this link on my description, but remember to modify your port number. So your port number may not be 8380. You can actually, I think you can actually set this up to change this port number, but I digress. So once you have that and then you enter it, you can see I have connected my MCDU into the simulator. So everything you do at the tablet will actually sync to the computer. So if, for example, I want to set up a route here, I can enter in the init page like VHHH from Hong Kong to VHHH. As you can see, it is pretty responsive. It's actually quite fast. So for example, I can put it Cathay Pacific flight whatever 008 like this. I can put it in. So this is very useful. For example, you just want to have your instruments and your views looking straight up. You don't want to use like your camera to look down and then input your stuff with the mouse and keyboard or whatever. You can just have it on your tablet or your phone and you can just enter it right here. So you don't have to use a mouse or keyboard. Okay, so that's it with the MCDU menu. So another thing I want to talk about is with the Simbridge enable, you can actually set up this terrain on ND so that you can see the terrain on your ND. Without Simbridge, this does not work. So remember, if you want to use the ND with the terrain on, you have to have Simbridge running. So another thing I've got a lot of questions about in my shorts videos is usually about how I make these instruments down here and up here on my screens. The way I do it is with MSFS Pop-up Panel Manager. The way it works is very simple. It will remember where the pop-up window is on your cockpit. When you first start it up, you'll see something like this, and you're going to press this button to set up your profile. For example, let's give it a name like 320 test or something like this. So press accept, and you're going to see something like this. The way you set up your pop-up windows is pressing this plus button. So press this button and then name your panel. For example, my first panel is going to be PFD, and then what I'm going to do is press identify. And now you can see that in my Microsoft Flight Simulator, the camera just moved. The way you can do this is scroll through these cameras to find a camera view that will help me see my instruments the best. In this case, I'm popping my PFD, so I'm gonna use like instrument 1 to see these two instruments, and then press wherever the PFD is on the screen. For example, this is the PFD, right? I'm gonna press at the middle, and you can see that there's a green circle right here appearing. That means the pop-up panel manager is recognized that this is the click spot for the panel. Once you do this, you can exit out over here and then press this target button again. And right now, if you click start pop-up right here, you see that it's doing this thing to pop this window out. And you can actually move this window around to whatever you want. Like for example, down here at my screen, maybe I can move it down here and resize it like maybe like this. Maybe I like it like this. And then you can see that the pop-up panel manager is going to remember wherever you left it. If you want to control more precisely where the pop-up panel will be, you can use these 4 values here: top, left, width, and height. So the top is where the top of the window is going to be, and the left is where, from left to right, where the window is going to be. For example, if I want to close this gap right here, I can press this and then maybe add 10 pixels, and you can see that this panel is scooting over to the right. Scoot it over with one pixel at a time to close that gap. Okay, maybe like this. Let's say that I like how this panel looks right now, and I want to remove this title bar. I can actually go up to here, press this down arrow, and then toggle hide title bar. Press this and you can see the title bar is gone, and you have black all the way around. And if you want to quickly resize it, you can toggle back in the title bar and then resize it. Maybe I want it to be full screen like this, and then I can hide the title bar again to have my whole screen to be just the PFD. And that is how I do off my pop-up panel. I just have it set up and then have it pop out one by one by one. Let's just show it this. So I have 2 cameras, one for the PFD and the ND, and then the other one for the ECAM, for both key ECAM. So after the initial pop-up, it will get rid of the title bar for you, and after that, there you go, you have your instrument setup with black all the way around without the title bars or anything. There are many more options here in the pop-up panel manager, but I'm not gonna dive too deep into this. It's just a simple setup tutorial or simple setup video of my FlightSim setup. So another crucial software that I use with my flight simming is Lossless Scaling. Maybe a lot of you already know about this. This is essentially a frame generation and scaling software. I mainly use it for frame generations, and I have it locked at the target at 60 FPS. So without scaling, I usually get 30 to 40 FPS, and with this scaling on, I can actually have consistent 60 FPS here. You can see this is pretty nice, smooth 60 FPS, and the reason I use lossless scaling instead of the NVIDIA RTX, the DLSS, is because with lossless scaling, I feel like the frames are a lot more smoother, and also there's a lot less stuttering. With DLSS 3, I feel like there's a lot more stuttering when I'm panning around and flying actually. So it doesn't really feel like 60 FPS even though the numbers say it is 60 FPS. But with lossless scaling, I feel like it is consistently hitting 60 FPS with a smooth, stutter-free experience. So I'm just using this for the frame gen, so I'm not using the scaling. So I've turned off the scaling function of lossless scaling, so I'm just using it for the frame gen. So let's do a takeoff here to see how the frame is. I'm taking off here at Hong Kong International Airport, so with pretty heavy scenery. So let's see how my computer handles it. So let's go toga. So man toga SRS auto thrust blue. Keep it down at the center. 100 knots. During takeoff, you can see I'm dipping down to the 20s, but lossless scaling is keeping me up at 60 FPS, and I can see it's pretty smooth, but you can see there's a lot of artifacting, so it's less than ideal, but for the overall immersion it's much better than not having it. Once we're off the ground, you can see that I'm holding a consistent 30 FPS with scenery around. So this is a much better experience that for me than with NVIDIA DLSS. So that's why I'm running lossless scaling as my frame gen. There is a little bit of an input lag with lossless scaling, but that is to be expected. You can feel it slightly, especially if you're flying Boeing or other GA aircraft. You can feel it with a little bit of input lag, but it's fine. It's generally fine and not that cumbersome to use it. So yeah, in 2025, this is what my FlightSim setup looks like. I'm very happy with how everything looks, and I feel like this kind of setup is very achievable for a lot of people. You just have to have screens, your tablets and your controllers just on your table. Like, I don't have a sim rig or anything. I don't have a sim rig like a frame or a chair or anything. This is just my regular work desk. I feel like this setup is very approachable with a lot of people with all kinds of budgets. You just have a main screen and then an auxiliary screen or two, and then your tablet and then your controllers. So thanks a lot guys for watching this video, and again thanks a lot for the 1,000 sub, means a lot to me. I cannot thank you enough for this. My short-term goal is gonna be monetizing my channel. So I will be making more long-form videos like this one, and it will always be either flight sim related or aviation related or simulation games related. So like Euro Truck Sim or Racing Sim if I have the time or I have the money. But mainly aviation flight simulator is my main thing. So if you liked my video or like my setup, if you like to see more shots of aviation shots with this setup, feel free to subscribe. So once again, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.